The nurse didn't mean to expose him. She said one name by mistake. And in that moment, Claire realized her husband wasn't holding her hand out of love. He was holding it to keep her quiet. 3 days after losing her baby, lying helpless in a hospital bed, Claire believed she still had a marriage. She didn't. She had been sharing her husband with another woman, and the hospital was the only place where the truth couldn't hide. Stay with me, because what Claire discovered next didn't just end a relationship. It destroyed a man who thought she would never fight back. Claire didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just turned her head slowly and looked at the man who had sworn she was his entire world, and watched his face fall apart. Because some betrayals don't come with shouting. They come quietly, and they change everything. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel if you love real, emotional stories like this, and comment where you're watching from. Let me know you're here. Now, back to the room where the lie began. No, you're wrong. Daniel's voice cracked, too fast, too sharp. The nurse stood frozen at the foot of the bed, her clipboard pressed to her chest. She was young, maybe 23. Her cheeks burned red. I'm sorry, she said again. Our system shows Daniel Morgan as the emergency contact for Ms. Avery Reed in Ward C. I assumed. Get out, Daniel snapped. Claire felt his grip tighten on her fingers. Too tight, like he was holding on to something slipping. The nurse backed away quickly. The door closed. The silence screamed. Claire stared at the ceiling. The cracks above the fluorescent lights looked like thin veins. She had been staring at them for hours already. Ever since the surgery. Ever since the doctor told her the baby was gone. Her voice came out soft. Almost polite. Who is Avery Reed? Daniel didn't answer. He stood up so fast his chair fell backward. Claire, he said, running a hand through his hair. You're confused. You've been through a lot. You were sedated. I asked you a question, she said. Her tone didn't change. That scared him more than yelling ever could. Claire Morgan had always been quiet. Not weak, just quiet. She was the kind of woman people forgot was in the room. Medium height. Brown hair she cut herself every few months because salons felt like a waste. Soft eyes. Always listening. She worked as a medical billing auditor for a small Boston firm. It wasn't glamorous, but she was good at it. Numbers made sense. Paper trails told the truth when people didn't. She drove a 10-year-old Honda with a cracked dashboard and kept granola bars in her purse in case someone else got hungry. She had loved Daniel the same way she did everything else, steadily, completely, without drama. She had stood by him when his startup failed, when his confidence shattered, when his temper got sharp and mean, and then apologetic again. She believed marriage meant endurance. She believed loyalty was quiet. And now she was lying in a hospital bed with an empty womb and a husband who suddenly couldn't look her in the eye. Daniel paced. Avery she's nobody, he said too fast. She works with one of our investors. There was an emergency months ago. She didn't have family listed. I helped her. That's all. Claire turned her head and looked at him. Why is she using your last name? He froze. What? The nurse said Ms. Reed. But she almost called me Ms. Reed. That means the system has me labeled wrong. That means paperwork was changed. She swallowed. Her throat hurt. Everything hurt. Why would my name be wrong, Daniel? He laughed. Actually laughed. You audit insurance claims all day, he said. You see ghosts everywhere. Then he softened his voice. The one he used when he wanted control back. You just lost a baby. You're emotional. The word landed like a slap. Emotional. Like grief erased intelligence. Like pain made her stupid. Claire closed her eyes. Inside her chest, Something old and patient woke up. For 3 days, Daniel had played the perfect husband. He never left her side. He held her hair when she threw up. He told doctors to explain things slowly. He cried when he thought she was asleep. Nurses praised him. "What a good man," one said. "What a devoted husband," said another. Claire had believed it. Because when you love someone, you want to believe the best version of them is real, even when the cracks show. Daniel crouched beside the bed now. "Claire," he said gently, "you need to rest. I'll handle this. I'll talk to administration. You don't need stress." She opened her eyes. "Did you sign anything while I was under?" His breath caught. "What? Did you sign any forms in my name?" "No," he said too quickly. She nodded. "Okay." The word sounded small, but inside her mind, the audit process had already begun. That night, while Daniel slept in the chair beside her bed, Claire pressed the call button. A different nurse came in. Older. Calm. "I need copies of my medical consent forms," Claire said. The nurse hesitated. "We usually release those through records." "I'm an auditor," Claire said quietly. "I know my rights." The nurse studied her for a moment, then nodded. The forms arrived an hour later. Claire read them slowly. Every page, every signature. And there it was. A consent amendment signed while she was under anesthesia. A clause granting temporary financial authority to her spouse in the event of medical death. Her name was signed, but the handwriting wasn't hers. Claire stared at the page until the room felt too small. Daniel hadn't just betrayed her heart. He had planned for her death. She folded the papers carefully and placed them under her pillow. When Daniel woke up, she smiled at him and let him believe the lie was still alive, because the quiet ones don't strike first. They strike last. That alone told Claire everything. He stretched in the hospital chair like a man who believed the worst was over, like a man who thought the story still belonged to him. "Morning," he said softly. "How do you feel?" Claire blinked slowly, like someone just waking from sleep. She kept her voice gentle. "Tired," she said. Relief washed over his face. Good, he thought. Still weak. Still quiet. He leaned forward and kissed her forehead. "I'll grab coffee," he said. "Doctors are doing rounds soon." She nodded. When the door closed behind him, Claire exhaled. Not a sob. Not a sigh. A steady breath. She reached under her pillow and pulled out the folded papers. Her fingers didn't shake anymore. Something inside her had gone cold and clear. She pressed the call button again. "I'd like to speak with hospital administration," she said when the nurse answered. "And legal. Today." By noon, the floor felt crowded. Doctors moved in and out. Nurses whispered. A hospital administrator named Marla Kingsley arrived. Mid-50s, gray streak in her hair, eyes sharp behind thin glasses. Daniel returned with coffee and froze when he saw the room. "What's going on?" he asked. Claire looked at him calmly. "I asked for help," she said. His jaw tightened. "Claire," he said low, "this isn't necessary." She didn't answer. Another man entered behind Marla. Tall, clean suit, calm face. "This is Arthur Bellows," Marla said. "Hospital counsel." Daniel's smile disappeared. Then came the twist Daniel didn't plan for. A nurse opened the door again. "Ms. Reed from Ward C is stable enough to be moved," she said. Administration asked if she could join. Daniel shouted. "No." Too loud. Too fast. Everyone turned to him. The nurse hesitated. "Sir." Claire spoke before he could recover. "Yes," she said. "Please bring her." Daniel's face drained of color. Avery Reed entered the room slowly. She was younger than Claire, maybe late 20s. Blonde hair pulled into a loose bun. She wore a borrowed sweatshirt over her hospital gown. She stopped when she saw Daniel. Confusion crossed her face. "Dan," she said. Claire watched her carefully. Avery looked scared. Not smug. Not proud. Just unaware. Daniel stepped back like he had been caught stealing. "Avery," he said. "This isn't." Claire interrupted. "Hello," she said gently. "I'm Claire, Daniel's wife." Avery's face went white. "What?" she whispered. Marla cleared her throat. "We need to establish clarity," she said. "Mr. Morgan, You are listed as emergency contact for both women, under different last names. Arthur Bellows folded his hands. And we have evidence of altered consent forms, he added. Daniel's voice rose. This is insane. My wife is confused. Claire lifted the papers. Her hand was steady. No, she said. I'm not. Claire placed the documents on the tray table. These were signed while I was under anesthesia, she said. This signature isn't mine. Arthur picked them up. Daniel took a step forward. I was protecting her, he said. She was at risk. You gave yourself financial control if she died, Arthur said flatly. That's not protection. That's coercion. Avery looked between them. Dan, she said quietly. You told me you were separated. Silence. The worst kind. The kind that confirms everything. Claire turned to Avery. I'm sorry, she said. And she meant it. Avery covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. You said she didn't understand you, Avery whispered to Daniel. You said she was cold. Checked out. Claire almost laughed. But she didn't. Marla straightened. This hospital takes consent violations seriously, she said. Security has been notified. Daniel shook his head. You can't. 2 security officers appeared at the door. Daniel's voice cracked. Claire, he said. Please. We can talk. She looked at him. Really looked. This man she had loved. Protected. Believed. You already talked, she said. You just didn't know I was listening. Arthur spoke again. Law enforcement has been contacted regarding fraud and attempted coercion. Daniel backed into the chair. Avery sat down hard, shaking. Nurses watched from the hall. The hero act was over. When they took Daniel away, he didn't fight. He just looked back at Claire once. She didn't wave. She didn't cry. She simply turned her head toward the window. Avery stood hesitantly. I didn't know, she said again. I know, Claire replied. Avery nodded and left. The room grew quiet. Marla touched Claire's arm gently. You did the right thing, she said. Claire closed her eyes. For the first time since the miscarriage, the pain felt real, but clean. 2 days later, Claire walked out of the hospital alone. No husband. No promises. Just sunlight. She paused on the steps and breathed in cold Boston air. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Detective Russo. We'll need a statement. She typed back. Anytime. Claire put the phone away and kept walking. Some people confuse silence with weakness. They forget that silence is often just strength waiting for the right moment to speak. Claire didn't lose her marriage. She survived it. And that was enough. If this story moved you, subscribe for more powerful, real-feeling stories like this. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been underestimated until the truth came out?